Hi everybody, I'm Lauren Collier. This is Lauren's Crazy Pet Show, and we're actually on location today at Taylor Farm Park, a wonderful dog park in Norwalk on this very warm day. And we have invited a great friend of ours to be here with you. This is Jimmy Gonzalez, and Jimmy was actually the Chief Animal Control Officer for 7.5 years in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and a friend of our Pet Talk show. He used to come on all the time, so we welcome you.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, we're so happy to see you. We wanted to talk to Jimmy because the beloved pet of one of our viewers was actually lost for several days. Now, it was so scary. Her beautiful dog, Missy, somehow got separated at the park and went missing. Thankfully, she was found a few days later, but this got us thinking, if your dog or cat goes missing, what can you do?
This is a topic which for 7.5 years, and actually to this day, I still get people Facebooking me, asking me until it happens. Because as you said, nobody ever assumes it would happen to them. Biggest issue, first of all, is preparation. As you can imagine, everybody takes pictures of their animals and they have them on Facebook and they do that. But the issue is that what you should do is take pictures of your animal's coat, markings, different shots of his face, different angles, in the light, not like in a dark living room. Take the dog outside in the sun. Take photos of the different angles, the rear, the front, the muzzle, any special markings. The reason is so that this actually helps. Like, put those pictures in memory. And then if your animal just happens to get lost, your cat to include it, or even a parrot, those are the pictures you can share. A lot of people will share the close-up of the black lab, which you could barely see, and that's surprisingly, with all the photos they take, that's the only photo they have.
Yeah, yeah.
So
that's a
I
great
always tell
point.
people markings. If your dog has a special mark or there's something different about their coat, that's what you should take a photo of and just file that, keep it aside. If your dog is lost, contact animal control, or basically visit there, that's actually even better. Bring the photos to them and understand that, let's say for example, if you live, let's say here in beautiful Norwalk, and your dog goes missing, a lot of people will go to their local shelter. The problem is, shelters usually don't talk with each other, so if somebody happens to drive through Norwalk and find your dog roaming, and they live in Stamford, this has happened many times. Now the dog is in the Stamford shelter.
Right, okay.
So now you're going back and forth with the Norwalk agency, and you're just like, oh, there's a dog here. The dog's been sitting in the Stamford shelter for a couple weeks. Then you have, one of the biggest issues is that the policy is the animal is picked up by animal control. They advertise the animal in their local paper.
Okay.
So let's say, for example, worst case scenario, the dog is picked up and taken to Danbury, because that's where the person who found your dog lives. They would drop off the dog in Danbury. Hopefully you assume, but I never do, that the agency will ask the person where they found the dog. They say Norwalk, and then they contact Norwalk. A lot of times they won't. So what will happen is, this dog is sitting up there, they advertise that dog in their local paper.
In their local, right.
Here you are sitting in Norwalk waiting to see if it appears in the lost and found, because that's where it will be. It won't be in a special dog section. It's always in the lost and found. And they just have to post it once.
So you want to make sure you spread your wings.
Yes.
Don't just go to your town and assume.
It sounds ridiculous, but like for example, here in Norwalk, I would contact Darien, I would contact Stamford. Basically put a bug in everybody's ear, make sure they have photos of the dog, because now the issue is the dog will be held for 7 days after the advertising. Once the dog has been advertised and the 7 days are up, now they can actually adopt that dog out.
Oh, wow. So you
which
really want
has happened in many occasions. And then the pet owner shows up a month later, 2 months later, looking for their dog, and the dog was adopted out.
Wow.
We've had people actually fight it in court, and based on state law, it doesn't matter. Once the 7 days is up, that city or town can adopt that dog out.
So you really want to sort of, go out of your boundaries and contact people all around you.
Yes.
Now we have the internet, so is all of that a good idea?
It's a great idea. Oh, no, social media is wonderful. Actually, social media is a godsend. But again, the issue will always be the photos. And mention these things, mention these special markings, clear and concise of what your dog looks like, his height, if he limps, if he's heavy, whatever the issue may be.
Should you also call the police? Should you call local vets?
Vets help, because a lot of people that happen to pick up your dog and decide that it's now their new dog may take the dog to have it checked out. The vets know they're already prepared and know once the dog comes in. The vet techs and the office staff are usually phenomenal at knowing that this dog might belong to someone.
So you might
actually know that's a great
And also
too.
Tell everybody, I'm sure you'd agree with
Well,
that.
that's the biggest thing. You really want to get it out there.
To let as many people know.
The other thing is, if you could get a microchip, it always helps. The only problem is a lot of people assume still that microchips are satellite based, and they do have that technology coming up, but it's whoever has a reader just reading to the dog once they find the dog and then trying to match that microchip to an address. Problem with that is, again, most people don't update their microchips or even register the microchips. And a lot of places where you get these microchips, it won't do it for you. They assume you do. So if your dog, if your dog is microchipped, also make sure that it is up to date. Especially if you move. We've had situations of going back almost 8 pet owners.
Wow.
Looking for a dog, and it's like nobody can thought of registering this animal.
I think another thing people should remember is don't give up hope, because I know somebody came on to Pet Talk whose dog went missing for like 6 months, and they never gave up hope and they kept looking, and the dog was found in a cemetery in Upper Connecticut, and it was okay, and then went home. So you just never know. And speaking of getting the word out, it actually was posters and social media that helped bring Missy home. Someone who saw the flyers and also heard about it on social media contacted Lisa, Missy's mother, to let her know she found Missy sleeping on her front porch. Now that just really tells you how important it is to share the information and to get the word out.
Don't lose hope.
And if you have questions, I bet they can contact you, because Jimmy now has a new wonderful business.
Yes, byobprinteddesign.com. We do T-shirts, but we're animal people. That's what we do.
His wife, I'm his very good girlfriend over there, Melissa, too. Wealth of information. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, a microchip, yeah. And if you can, microchip your dog.
Right. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you, everybody out there. This has been Lauren's Crazy Pet Show.